Hi, this is Linda Fairweather, and I have with me Zachary Huber, and we are just getting ready to do our first program called Grow Your Business with Google. And I'm going to be completely honest here and say this is the first time Zach and I have both used the webinar function of a Zoom platform. And we've been practicing, but we're still novices. So bear with us if we make things go weird. You'll understand we're new to this. There's also the chat function. And while I'm talking, Zach is going to be monitoring the chat. And when he's talking, I will be monitoring the chat. So we're really glad you could be here. The library is proud to be able to say that we've been chosen to help promote not so much Google as to help promote make your business have a better profile online. You can see on this first screen, here's our names. And also it has down here at the bottom the hashtag Grow with Google. You can use that to follow Grow with Google on social media, but you can also use Grow with Google to get to all of these tools that we're going to be learning about. Grow with Google helps people across the United States grow their skills, their careers, and businesses by offering free tools. In today's workshops, we're going to learn how to set up, verify, and manage your business profile on Google using the free tools called Google My Business. We are also going to, this is the agenda, we're going to take a tour of Google My Business, learn how to manage your information, how to create a business profile, and then also how Google helps businesses reach customers, and then resources that help you appear across Google. And then finally, we'll spend just a few minutes showing you a little bit about the analytics to understand how customers find you. We're going to start with just a very short little video that gives a good example of a small business and how they use the business profile. We're also, the Village Tailor, we will be using them as our sample throughout here when we're looking at the different ways to do your profile and to get your business on Google. So let me go ahead and play this and enjoy it. It's just a very short video.
My name is Vince. This is my shop. I opened Village Tailor and Cleaners in 1977. I arrived in New York 4 years earlier from Italy. It was me, my brother, my mom, and my dad. My mother taught me how to sew. When I opened the shop, the first person I hired was my mother. This is Bruno, the store mascot. My little advertisement. As a business owner, you're always thinking, how can you do better? I noticed that customers come in with the clothes in one hand and the phone on the other, always looking up information. So I said to myself, we have to put this store online. Google lets me decide how the shop shows up. I pick photos, I can post special hours, anything. I made this website in 10 minutes using the website builder. And I'm not kidding. Now people walk in and I'm always asking, how did you find us? They used to say, I saw Bruno, so I came in. Now they say, Google. Believe it or not, we're up 30% this year. We're doing enough business. I had to hire more tailors and get some new machines. I've got 3 shops going. And my son Vincent Jr. is running one of them, the Village Cobbler next door. I'm in an old-fashioned profession. I work with my hands. I hadn't thought much about putting the business online. Now, I couldn't be happier. Village Tailor, 40 years and going strong.
So what is a business profile? And one of the things I really liked about that video, which I was so glad we found it, is that Vincent's not a spring chicken. He is a mature adult that's been doing this a long time, and he was able to do this. So I tell you that because I know a lot of people get anxious about doing anything where they're putting information that might even look like a website. So just let that slide away and relax, and I think you'll be really happy with what we're going to show you. So the business profile is the best way to do it is to, okay, so there we go, is to take a look at what happens. And this is what it's going to look like on a mobile device, but also I'll show you a picture in a minute of what it looks like on a computer or a tablet. But this is the basic format. And you've probably seen this when you've Googled other businesses or said things like places to eat near me. So you're going to get a photo, which you have control over the photo. You'll have your name of your business. And then the overview right here, this is you're going to be able to fill this in and give an overview about your business. Updates are maybe that's where you're going to have sales or whatever. And then reviews are where your customers can give you reviews. Then we have our quick links, and I know I use these all the time to call, especially if on my mobile device. I can just click that and it's going to allow me to call. And then also you get directions for the map. You can save it, and you can also click to a website if you have one. We have location and we have hours. And notice there's a little drop down here, which you're going to see how to take care of that in a few minutes here. This is what it looks like typically when you're on a computer. And what you have to realize is there are businesses that have their profiles are 2.7 times more likely to be considered reputable. So it's not just to find you, it's a business that has one of these updated profiles is going to be seen as more viable of a business. And when they say up to date, they mean things change. So maybe your hours change, or maybe you're now doing delivery. We're going to be changing that on here. Okay. And then up-to-date profiles are also 70% more likely to attract locations and visits, and 50% more likely to lead to purchase. People visit 1.5 billion destinations every month related to Google searches. To me, that's just mind-blowing. And people are searching locally, and that's one of the things they can do here. And what's nice is not only does it give you a map, which you can see here, so here's the Village Tailor and Cleaners, but it's also going to pop up other things of interest in the area. So if you're new to somewhere, you might find something else you might want to do. I thought this looked here, they have a cookie dough confections over here. Moving on, the other thing that's wonderful, and I'm showing you these samples, but Google works on desktops, laptops, tablets, and mobile phones. So however a person gets on the internet, if they Google something, your opportunity is going to be right there. And you can see this is just showing how it's on a computer, a mobile device, and a tablet. Each will look a little bit different, but for the most part, you're going to have the same information. So how to get started. If you haven't claimed your business profile yet, you can do it by clicking on the link. So the first thing you're going to do is Google your business. And if your business is here already, because Google actually is out there always looking for businesses, you come down here where it says own this business, claim it now. Don't see a business profile for you, you can create it. So let's tour how to Google my business. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to actually make a Google account for your business. And for doing this, you're going to want to set up, going to Google, Google My Business, and make an account. It is not hard to get an account, and you can get started right away. When you do that, you're going to end up with your business tab. And this is, some people call this the dashboard. You're going to want to make sure your information is correct and finding ways to connect with your customers. So you're going to have a primary category. You're going to have a additional categories. There's lots of options. If you don't see yours there right away, find something that's near what you're doing. You can edit the address or drag the pin icon to the updated location. Let customers see your business location by Google by adding a street address. Now, if you don't have a street address, let's say you are a delivery service, so you don't really have a street address, you would leave this blank, and then you would go over here and select your service area. Businesses that are allowed to have a Google search have to have some way that they interface with the customer one-to-one. So that would be either a physical location, or things are delivered to the customer, or maybe you're a consultant and you go to the customer's business. Businesses that are not going to be able to do a Google My Business would be businesses that are like rental properties, things like that, because it's not really about the customer coming one-to-one. All right. Now we're going to go in, and then you're going to see where you confirm your business hours. It's really easy to do. You just slide this little slider, and then you add your hours. And this is something that you want to keep updated. And I'm going to show you a little bit later on how they've been updating things during COVID. This is one of the first things they added during COVID-19. More hours apply to special options. So now you can actually have other options that are available. And the one here they're showing is probably more related to delivery, brunch, drive-through, happy hours, senior hours. These are more related to, it sounds like, the food industry, but even senior hours, and there's other things in here, are ways that you can connect with people who have special needs also. So you're going to also have the opportunity to make a short name. So those of you that are on social media, you see the @ sign, and you'll notice that it's all clumped together here, Vince's Village Cobbler. Excuse me. But when you set this up, this is a way that people are going to be able to search for you using social media or other platforms. And so this is something you want to think about, is getting your short name in there. The short name also creates what we call a URL, which is another way to connect with your business, so that it's going to be a quicker way for someone to find it. You don't need to worry about that. Google handles that in the background. The next thing you're going to be doing is, if you have a website, you're going to be adding that, and you're also going to add a phone number, and you can add you can have several phone numbers. What you can't put in here is a fax number, because these are going to be numbers. Remember, on the mobile app, people just click on that and they're going to go right to call you. So that's one of the things you want to have, is your phone number in there. Moving on, this is one of the newer things. They have attributes. They have a lot of attributes. But one of the things is, some of these are women-led, veteran-led, Black-owned. They're always adding new ones. And what's nice about these is this, if you apply this to your business, this allows people, when they're searching, and they're searching locally possibly, and they want a Black-owned bakery, you would, if you have that amenity listed, you would, or that attribute, you would be able to do that. The amenities down here that talks about, you can do online scheduling. We're not going to get into that today, but that is another option that you're going to be able to have as you get your profile going. So let's talk about what your business is actually doing. And again, you have 750 characters. So that's like 3 tweets altogether. Not a lot, but you have room to put it in there. What I always recommend people do is get out a Word document, draft it, edit it, reread it, read it out loud, and then paste it in here. And that way you're going to have it there ready. Notice it says down here, edits may be reviewed for quality and can take up to 3 days to be published. So what you put in here may be, you're not going to see it right away, but you will eventually see it. This is another thing that is important to update on a regular basis. If something your business changes or you start taking on a different group of customers, this would be a great place to put it in there. Because remember, the more you update this, the higher you're going to be noted in the industry. So how to create a business profile? So just like we said before, you're going to go to google.com business and you're going to be ready to do a sign in. You're going to have to sign in and create an account. If you already have a Google account connected with your business, then you're just set to go. And I know a lot of people do, because that's where they start with their first email, is they'll have a Gmail account. So you're going to want to set up an account. And if you don't use Google, you can register another email address as a Google account by visiting googleaccounts.setup. I know when I had my business, I still have a Google email, which I can never remember what it is, but I had set it up so that it went to my business email that was the same business name as my business website. So you have the opportunity to do that. Next, we're going to type the business name as you want it to appear on Google. So notice the example they had was Vince's Village Cobbler. That's how you want it to appear. Sometimes I know people will have a trade name that they've registered with the state that is actually different than what people are accustomed calling their business. This is where you're dealing with your customer, so you can put down that name that people, the name that's on the door. And then you want to confirm the spelling and make sure it's spelled correctly. Okay, I don't need to say anything more about that. That's pretty standard. Next, I mentioned that you have several categories. If you can't find the perfect category, choose something close. So start by thinking about how people are going to connect with you. If you have multiple categories for your business, start with the main category first. And after your business profile is updated, you can add additional categories. When you're done, you'll see it right down here. You're going to click Next. Now, step 4 is, do you have a location customers visit? You're going to answer either yes or no. That's pretty straightforward. You can choose, you will be asked to choose whether or not you have a physical locations. Many service area businesses operate out of private homes. Service area business may see their customers face to face, but at the customer's location or on a common place, such as a coffee shop. So they don't necessarily want customers showing up at their business, at their home. So in that case, you would click no, and then you're going to go on to Next. Enter the complete and official address. If you've checked yes, you're going to add any suite. Post office boxes are not considered accurate physical locations and are not allowed. And this also includes mailboxes at locations other than your business address, such as some of the shipping stores. If you check no, you will be asked to enter the areas, and a lot of times this can be done by cities, postal codes, or things like neighborhoods and districts. So around in the Toledo market, you're probably going to do by cities and say, I service Toledo. You know, if you're working out of your home, maybe Waterville, Maumee, Sylvania, Holland, depending on where you're located. Okay, step 5, you're going to enter the business contact information. And you're going to be providing current information will help customers get in touch and learn more about your business. To add the web address of an existing web, simply uncheck the box that says create a new website, which you see right here. So you wouldn't need one. If you need a website, that is another, we're not going to go into it today, but that is another tool that Google has where you can create your own website. A lot of times people will tell me, oh, I'm on Facebook, I don't need to create a website. Well, the fact that you can do a free one, and what a free website does for you is it does, even if it just says, this is who I am, this is what I do, it's another way that shows your business is serious. So a lot of times, even if you're doing everything on Facebook or Instagram, having your own presence is important. And again, you can get it done for free. Okay, we're almost done. This is the part that is important. You must verify your connection to the business. And to do this, you are going to click finish, and you are going to get to choose how you want to verify it. So the most common way that they want you to do it is to do a postcard by mail. And so if you live at home and this is coming to your home, you're going to want to have everybody be on the lookout for this. I can still remember when I did this 10 years ago with my business that I had, and I remember waiting for that postcard, and it actually shows up. On there you get a code that you're going to go in and you're going to verify that it got there, and they did it. They say here it can take 15 days, but they also said in their notes that they sent us to do this, that sometimes it's taking up to 14 days. I won't tell you that I just sent something from my home to a business 6 blocks away and it took 3 weeks. So that's a little beyond the 14 days, but I think times are interesting right now. So the postcard arrives and then you'll enter your verification code. And now you can add services. And so each step you take, once you're verified, you can go back in and you can add some more services. And it's, like I say, it's an ongoing process. You can also want to give a description. We talked a little bit about this before. 750 characters. It's a good way to be thinking about how you can connect with your business. You can also add photos once you've gotten this verified. And photos are a way that people engage in photos. And then now you're ready to see your Google account. So once you got everything ready, you're going to continue. And now you should be able to go back to your dashboard, and you're going to have a lot of different things that you're going to be able to do. And so, oops, sorry about that. So these are some of the features they have, and this is going to be your dashboard where you can get to at any time you want. It has this nice place here on completing your listing. If you're not quite finished, it will give you tips on how to make it more compelling and how to keep in front of customers. One of the other things I wanted to tell you that when you go into the Google My Business or Grow with Google, and you're looking at the different options that they have of different tools and training, one of the things I came across, which I thought was very interesting, was how Google and YouTube connect, because Google owns YouTube, but they have a lot of different ways that you can add compelling videos to your own website and have people click through them from your from where you are on the mobile device, because that can be some of your updates, and it just helps connect people with you. So I am now going to pass it off to Zach. You there, Zach?
Yes, let me just take control of the screen. Okay, so I did have one question come in that I wanted to address here before I get started.
Okay.
It is a question about using a Gmail account. No, you can create a Google account with any existing Gmail I actually did that for my library email address once, and it doesn't end in @gmail.com. So you can use any existing email to create a Google account. But if you're also asking about your business, if it's good to use a Gmail account or if you should use a different one, if you can, I always recommend using your own domain name. So for the example of Vince's Village Cobbler, it would be vince@vincesvillagecobbler.com. So if that's an option for you, that always makes your business seem more legitimate. But for the purpose of creating this profile, you do not need you don't need to have a Gmail email address. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some additional tools. We're going to pivot and we're going to talk about those tools that are available through Google to help you find and reach your customers and find out how is best for you to interact with them. So I want you to think about the sheer volume of searches that happen online. There are a lot of searches, literally billions on Google every day. Each search is an opportunity for your business to connect with people who are looking for information. And data shows that a lot of people are searching for information about local businesses like hours of operation and driving directions. Has anyone out there made a large purchase in the last year? Maybe a car, a television, or a new smartphone? How many of you started that by visiting a store and talking to a clerk? Now, how many of you started by researching online? I'll bet that most of you, if not all of you, started online. That's where most people start these days, and it's not for, it's all for every type of purchase, not just the big ones. And if you did do some type of online shopping research, you might have started by reading customer reviews. Or maybe you did some price comparison or shipping cost comparison or looked at warranties. The takeaway is consumers often have a lot of info about products and services before they contact a business or a store. Your website might be the new front door, the first interaction a potential customer has with your business. It's important to note that customers may start their shopping journey online, but there's still a lot happening offline. In fact, 85% of transactions still happen in local stores. Research shows that people are more concerned with their need in the moment than any particular brand. That means that even if your business is brand new and unknown, you've got a shot at winning a searcher's business if your online presence helps them in a critical moment. With that in mind, let's look at a few different ways that Google can help searchers find you online. First, I think it's important to understand how Google works. And so we'll talk about how the search process is. When you're searching, Google uses an index of the web. Think of the web as an ever-growing library filled with billions and billions of books. A book represents the website, and the pages of the book represents the pages of your website. But there's no card catalog to help you find anything and no central database. On top of that, people aren't merely searching for websites, they want to find specific information inside the website, the individual pages and resources. So how in the world can people find anything? Enter search engines like Google. Google's job is to read the book, categorize the pages, and help searchers find the info on these pages. Google finds information on the web by sorting through all of those billions of sites and web pages and showing people where to find those answers for what they're looking for. To do that, Google uses software called a web crawler, or also sometimes a spider, a robot, or a bot. Google's crawler is known as Googlebot. Googlebot starts with a list of URLs. It then visits these websites looking for new links to add to the index, plus changes to websites and dead links. Googlebot follows links from page to page, sending website info back to Google servers to update their index and to ultimately help searchers find their web pages. Googlebot processes each page it indexes, taking note of important information from keywords to website freshness, and it stores it in its index. The index is like the index in the back of a book. With every entry for each word seen in the index page, it's huge and it keeps growing and growing, and Google searches billions and billions of web pages every time. Every time a person searches Google, the search is looking for information stored in this gigantic index. And there are a lot of search happening, more than 1 trillion each year worldwide. It's hard to wrap your head around that number, so just think of it more like this. In just 1 second, Google processed 40,000 searches. And when those 40,000 searches happen, for each of those search results pages, how did Google decide which websites and resources to display? Those decisions happen automatically, the work of a computer algorithm. Google's algorithm considers more than 200 factors or signals. And those signals include basic criteria like language, location of the searcher, what type of device is being used. Other signals include the age of the content on the websites, its relevance to the query, and whether the page provides a good user experience, and a lot more. So after identifying the best set of results from information stored in the index, Google presents the results to the searcher. And all of this happened in just a fraction of a second. So let's take an example search results page and really break it down to what people are looking at. When someone searches Google in today's world, they typically type in a phrase or ask a question describing what they want to find on the web. That is what we call a query. Google's job is to show the most relevant information on the search results page so the searcher finds what they're looking for. In today's world, the consumer expects to find exactly what they're looking for without taking too much of their time. So on the screen, this should look pretty familiar. The tips in today's workshop are especially relevant to the results you see in the center of the page. They are the organic or the natural search results. The information presented about each site in the organic results is called a snippet. And each of those snippets includes a URL in blue, a page title in green, and usually a page description that gives more information about the results. Some search results pages show a business profile on the right of the page, which we covered in the first half of this presentation. And search results may display relevant ads served by a product called Google Ads, which we won't cover here today. But the illustration points out where images of products can appear at the top of the page. You might also be familiar with these as shopping ads, and you may see text ads in the search results as well, and those are labeled with a box that says ad. One last section you'll see at the bottom of a search results page is related to what you searched in the search query. It's kind of a cool feature though, when you think about it. It helps you really realize what other people are searching for too. It can help you refine your search and get some insight into how people are using Google. So here is an exercise for you to try after today's program. Open up your browser and go to google.com. Search for words and phrases that should surface your website in the search results. Are you showing up? If you are, what does it look like? And where do the clicks take you? If not, what sites are showing up? Do you recognize these businesses? So that will give you kind of a good picture of where to get started. If you're not on there, go back to what we were talking about and build your profile, or take a look at what we can do in the next steps to create better search optimization. So now that we know how to appear across Google search results, let's take a look at tips and tools you can use to address potential issues. The next section dives deeper into ways you can help your site appear in various sections using what we call SEO, or search engine optimization tips and tools from Google. Here are a few specific, relatively non-technical tips that can help. Regularly publish relevant, original content. It should be useful, information-rich, clear, and accurate. Include keywords users would like to type to find your pages, and make sure that your site actually includes those words. Always lead with your most important info. Your goal is to help get people to call your business, and keep your phone number prominent. Bulleted list can help make text more readable, and while there's no rule of thumb, the more frequently you update your website, the more likely it is to appear in a search engine result. As you publish content, keep it well organized. When your website content is organized into logical, clearly labeled areas, it helps not only your human visitors, but also Google's algorithm better understand the content of your website. Every web page should include a title and description, which will show up in the code that Google is searching. And a lot of the content management systems offer a better option to enter this text. Maybe you're using WordPress or Weebly, or I think the Wix. There's a bunch of different types out there, but they make that pretty easy now for you to include these elements in descriptive contents. Images often have an important influence on the appearance and success of your website, and some basic tips for selecting your images should include the image needs to be clear and in focus, and it should look it should match your overall website design. It's almost always better to use a real photo rather than a stock photo. And before you add an image to your site, make sure that you're allowed to do so and not just take it from a Google search. Make sure that you add image descriptions, also known as alt text or tags. This helps Google understand what that image is, and when a search is happening, it helps the image populate your search results. Image text is important because you want to optimize your load time. The probability of a bounce increases by 32% as page load time goes from 1 second to 3 seconds. It's even tougher on mobile. 53% of visits are abandoned if a mobile site takes longer than 3 seconds to load. So here are some free tools that you can use to help your website have a good online presence. Content is important, but make sure that your site loads quickly. Load time, the speed that your pages appear, is very important, especially on mobile. Optimizing your load time matters because every second delay in a mobile page, conversions will fall by 20%. You can check the speed of your website by using the tool shown here on the screen called Test My Site at g.co/testmysite. This test scores measures mobile speed, or how long it takes the site to load on a phone. Keep in mind that it's not just the strength of the web connection that determines the mobile speed, but also all of the elements that you have included on your page. After evaluating your site, the test will generate a report for you with some of the suggestions that you can take to make it faster, whether that's less images or different types of images, different sizes. It will give you those recommendations. Another search tool, or another tool that you can help your website appear in organic search results, is the Google Search Console. Search Console helps you monitor and maintain your website's presence in Google's organic search results on all devices. Here are some things that you can do with Search Console. You can make sure that Google can access your site. You can submit new content and remove content you don't want shown in your search results. And you can monitor your site for problems. Search Console shows how your Google and the world will see your website. For example, you can see reports that will tell you which queries caused your site to appear in search results, which websites linked to your site, if your site works well on mobile devices, and a lot more. And what's great is that it's free. So the link here on the page, g.co/search console, will take you there. Another great tool is going to be Google Analytics. To begin understanding your strengths and weaknesses in your website, you need to understand what visitors did or didn't do when they got there. This is called website analytics data. Google offers a free tool called Google Analytics, which I'll cover more in depth here in just a moment. But as a quick overview, Analytics includes a huge suite of customizable reports that answer questions about the effectiveness of your site, like what are people reading and viewing, how much time do people spend there on each site, if you have an e-commerce site, where are people abandoning their shopping carts. All of that is very important to know and understand so that you can reach your customers better. To wrap up the tips before I go into Google Analytics though, the last thing that I want to talk to you about is Google Trends. It's a free web-based tool that shows the relative popularity of different search terms on Google. The data is presented on a graph, which you can see here on the screen, with a scale of 0 to 100, with 100 representing the peak search volume. If it has enough data, Trends can show a forecast for a search volume related to popular searches and rising searches experiencing more significant growth. You can use it to find and compare the popularity of different words and phrases and determine seasonality of some of those words or more geographical friendly words. All of this is something that you can take into account with the language that you're putting on your website. A good example of this, Linda and I were kind of playing around with this tool, is coming up with some search terms that might be more prevalent now that we have COVID-19 going on. So if you go onto Google Trends and search the word delivery, you'll notice that there's a much larger spike, meaning that more people are searching for the word delivery when they're looking at some businesses in their area or restaurants. So it's good to just come up maybe with some words that describe your business to learn what your customers are using and how they're going to use those words to search for you. So that's another exercise after today's program is come up with some of those keywords, narrow them down, look at different date ranges, and explore related searches so that you can come up with the best language to have on your website. Okay, so let's go back to Google Analytics and spend some time there just because it's such a robust tool. And I don't claim to be an expert, but I'm going to go over some of the major components of it so that you know how to use it and what it can do for you. Google Analytics can seem complex and daunting. There are a million different ways to mix and match the segments and produce reports. So this will just be an overview of those different types of reports. So let's start with the real-time report. This report is used to determine if there's any new and changed site content and how that's being viewed. You can use it to determine a one-day promotion and how that has driven traffic on your website, or you can use it to monitor the effects of maybe a blog or a social media post. So this is really just giving you real-time data of who's using your website and what sites they're using and how they got there. So maybe I created a Facebook post, and I've done this before in one of my old jobs, where you link to your website, it's only maybe good for a day or a week, and it's a discount. And so you can see on this platform how those people are getting to your website. So maybe they just did a Google search, but you're actually looking to see who came from my Facebook post. That way you know if that channel is good for you to keep using. Another type of report is the conversion report. In a conversion, you might hear this a lot when it comes to website data. A conversion is a completed business activity, like a purchase or a lead. You can use these reports to show you how all of your channels work together to get you that conversion. A conversion report will indicate if a site or a change to your site or product has resulted in a positive effect. We don't want to guess this kind of thing. We really want that hard data. After making a change on your site, you can then check on the conversion percentage or average order value to see if there's been a positive or negative change. The third type of report on Google Analytics is your audience report. And the audience report provides insight into the characteristics of your users, such as demographics, interest, geography, language, behavior, and what type of devices they're using. Business owners can use this to kind of maybe dispel some of the preconceived notions they have about their audience. Maybe you thought that you were really serving ages 45 to 50, but it turns out your customers online are actually 25 to 34. So that can kind of help you develop your marketing strategy. And then the last report is the acquisitions report. And no, I'm sorry, there's one more report after this. This is the acquisitions report. And it provides a user's acquisition behavior conversion. And that sounds like a mouthful, and it is. But basically, that's how you acquire users on your site and their patterns. So you can see where the traffic is coming from based off of your channels, whether they're getting there from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or just a Google search, or maybe a Google ad. And you can use the tool to see which search terms are allowing customers to find you through a Google search. The final report is just the behavior flow report, and I remember using this a lot at my previous job. And so this visual tool shows you the path of your users from one page or event to the next. It helps you discover which content is more engaging, how long they're staying on a particular website, and which link on that website they're following to get to the next one. So in the graph, you can see maybe that little red shaded area. So that's telling you when a user is dropping off. So they've gone to the one website and that was it. They clicked it and they were done. But then you can see how it might connect to a different website and ultimately lead to a purchase page or your e-commerce website. Okay, so we threw a lot of information at you. So to wrap up today's session, I'm just going to maybe come up with some next steps for you in a recap. So some possible next steps based off of all of the things that we talked about here today. You can build or improve your website. You need to have a business, your business needs to have a search-friendly, mobile-friendly website. Now, especially with people going online first with COVID-19. People are a little apprehensive to just come to your store because you might have new hours or new rules. So make sure that that base is covered. Your next step is also to create or claim your free business profile at google.com/business, and to start taking advantage of Google Analytics to better understand how your customers are interacting with you online. Now, here are all of the tools that we talked about today. A couple recommendations there at the bottom I'll touch on real quick here in a second. But of course, you can always just Google these. It's all Google. So if you don't know the website, you can't remember it, just type into Google. We can share out the slides with you today. We do have your sign up registration information, but don't be afraid to just type whatever you're looking for into a Google search. One of the last resources on there was the Grow My Store. So this is one of the additional resources. So whether you sell online or in store, boost your business with a quick and easy evaluation of your retail website with this tool. Grow My Store will score your website and your retail website and generate personalized reports and recommendations to help you improve your online experience for your customer. And then if you'd like additional training on anything that we talked about here today, there is something called the Skill Shop. And you can use the Skill Shop for one-stop training center for everything or everyone who uses Google professional tools and solutions. You can get trainings on anything from like Google Drive or any of the things that we talked about here, or even additional things like Google Ads, which we haven't talked about here. So you can use that as an additional option for training. And today's program was part of the library's Lead with Digital Skills, which is a partnership through the Public Library Association and Google and Grow with Google. Grow with Google is an initiative that helps people prepare for work, find jobs, and grow their business. It includes resources not only for small businesses, which we covered here today, but resources for job seekers, teachers, and startups, as well as web developers. So to learn more about the tools that they offer for free, we talked about a lot today, but there are still some additional ones. You can go to google.com/grow. And as part of this program, we are asking, we will send out an email survey within 24 hours. So please consider filling out this survey so that we can continue offering programs like this to best serve your business needs. The last thing I did want to touch on here today before we're done is just some of the services that the library offers. Besides programs like this, we can help you research your industry, learn about your competition, write a business plan or a marketing plan, and find funding and establish operations. So if those are some of the areas that you'd like some help with, we are here for you. This is our contact information. You can call or email either Linda or myself, or go online and see some of our resources. We do one-on-one assistance with business owners or aspiring entrepreneurs. So that's all we have here today, unless Linda has anything to add, any questions to address that maybe would be good for the group, but that's all we have today.
Yeah, we had two questions came in. First one was from Tim, and he wanted to know if you need to correct something, how difficult it is. And I did put a message out there. I tried it just today, just to practice, and it is very simple. My biggest challenge was remembering what my password was. But once you get into the program, it was very easy. I could do it live. I went to what I showed you, the dashboard, and I was able, in my case, it was the actual name, had 2 S's on the end. And so I went in and actually was able to change it, save it. And it did say that it wouldn't be live right away, but a couple hours later I looked and it was live. And then the other question was about making the screen larger. If you haven't used Zoom a lot, up in the top right-hand corner, there's a little box button that you can say, and it's either exit full screen or make full screen. And so that would be one of the options that you have. Zach and I know are looking at it on our own screens here, and we have the whole screen filled. So if you were seeing what we had, you would have a full screen, but it is on the application of Zoom. I'm just trying to think what else. We're just really glad you could join us, and we are also available to sit down and talk with you.